Dula and its leaders from intimidating, harassing and assaulting any individuals that they identify as foreign nationals. While the majority of the judgment was in favor of the rights groups, the court did not grant their request to bar Dudula members from wearing military-style uniforms. The court also does not agree with submissions made by the groups that police failed to combat, prevent and investigate criminal conduct. The groups have also made allegations of communication and collusion between police, the Home Affairs Department and Operation Dudula, but the court has not ruled in their favor in this regard. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa says he will call for an institution to be set up to deal with inequality when he opens the G20 Leaders Summit in 18 days. Ramaphosa received a report from an expert panel led by one of the Nobel Peace Prize winners. A key finding of the report is for an international panel on inequality to be established to support governments and multilateral agencies in assessing and analysing the extent of inequality. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with afternoon thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to an overnight low of 14 degrees, peaking at 26, Pretoria 14 and 28, Vereniging 15 and 27. Monkey Ziko Ko, Eyewitness News.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
#MSW.
You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
This game will always humble you.
The Room Dividers.
The Room Dividers.
A show that doesn't just divide rooms, we also break news.
The Room Dividers. That to my mind.
Rob, I don't know whether you're a doctor now, you've become a specialist.
And now he gives it to Curtly Aronson. He gets the call inside from Jesse Creel. South Africa against Japan. That's exactly what Marnie Libet does.
We know that all of the Pirates is appealing about, we heard that he's appealing about that Pukasa coach and all those players, what. Guys, let's wait and for the case to be closed, because as long as the case is still on, it doesn't matter if the Lupopo is on the group. Once they find them guilty, they will be removed from the club.
Would you prefer that Pirates are successful with their protest and then St. Elupa, Lupopo get replaced by Orlando Pirates?
Well, if the protest meet the right channels, of course, if they will look at it, I'd love to see one of our team go back to this space, because remember, Marawa, the more players plays in this competition, the better for our national team.
Mangoba Mwiti with Golden Arrows. Mangoba Mwiti. Marawa, I can tell you, Mangoba Mwiti is a top coach. It's a top-notch coach. I can see whatever that is doing at Golden Arrows, it's yielding results. I think those boys are doing well under him. He has proven he's a top coach.
Oh, lovely little flick. And put on. No ways. Arrows going to a 4-0 lead.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
All right, it's Protea women rocking their way back into SA at the OR Tambo International Airport. A hero's welcome for them. If we can, we're going to be rolling over there to get the latest update. But today, as you know, it is the Room Dividers taking front and center stage. Also very interesting comments that have come through from the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. He held a press conference today on so many things, so many things. But I'll share one with you that kind of really stood out for me. It is Marawa Sports Worldwide on a Tuesday, proudly brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
Let's go! The moments you remember. The games you can't forget. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood Bets.
Now have full clarity on what happened. The report confirms that this was not an act of negligence or sabotage, but rather a strange and highly unusual set of coincidences. The 2 yellow cards issued to Tebo Mokwena came 16 months apart, an almost unheard of gap. Team manager Vincent Tseka, who has taken responsibility for the oversight, despite numerous extenuating circumstances. He was not present when the second card was issued, as he has left the field to fetch ice for the players. That extraordinary coincidence tells us something deeper, that our national team is operating under immense strain with far too few hands doing far too much work. Despite the tremendous progress on the field and positive results, Bafana Bafana are still under-resourced. That's the uncomfortable truth. I commend SAFA for being transparent, and I agree that now is not a time to make a martyr or a scapegoat out of anyone, including Mr. Tseka, who works hard and loves this team. He deserves our support, and I'm fairly confident that we will not see a repeat of this strange blunder.
Yeah, so there you have Gaten McKenzie. A couple of weeks ago, he was here on the show, hey? Spitting fire, wanting answers, demanding X, Y, and Z, demanding all sorts of things. But here he is today saying, no, the team manager went to get some ice, so he wasn't fully aware. At the time that he went to get this ice, the yellow card happened. So the obvious question is that what happened to match reports? Well, surely you don't always rely on what you see. You know, the optics will give you what they give you, but if you've missed something, it's your duty to come back and ask, to go back and check. So are we all of a sudden now going to be saying, let's give each other a hug, let's love each other, let's prepare for this World Cup so that we all travel Sisonke, let's head out to this World Cup together. No crime has been committed anymore. All is well. And he said that SAFA has complied with my ask and has completed its investigation, saying that they provided me with a very comprehensive investigation, and I can report today that we now have full clarity on what happened. The report confirms this was not an act of negligence or sabotage, but rather a strange, highly unusual set of coincidences. He says the 2 yellow cards issued to Tebo Mokoena came 16 months apart. Okay, is that unusual? No, because the national teams don't play every weekend, guys. They don't. The games are far apart. He says that's an almost unheard of gap. Almost unheard of gap. This is the team manager, Vincent Tseka, who has taken responsibility for that oversight despite numerous excruciating circumstances. He was not present when the second card was issued, as he had left the field to fetch ice for the players. Where are we fetching this ice? Is he in an Uber during the game going to a garage? Where is this ice being fetched? I'm not being cynical here, guys. I really am not. I am just saying that at the highest level of national team performance, we expect every level to deliver as such, professionally. We cannot be sitting here on the 4th of November 2025 making excuses about going to fetch ice. It almost like freezes my words. I don't even know how to properly stress this, but I am very stressed because none of this makes any sense. It says that extraordinary coincidence tells us something deeper, that our national team is operating under immense strain. Despite the tremendous progress on the field and positive results, Bafana Bafana are still under-resourced. End quote. So if they are under-resourced, are you only noticing this after the incident of the yellow card? If they are under-resourced, as you are making us to believe, Minister, and yes, of course, we'll challenge you on that one because that is our job, to hold you accountable in the office in which you hold. And if there are certain things that are currently happening and are being said that make no sense, like this one, then we can't sit back and fold our arms and say, bravo. We have access to so much information. And I don't even have to watch a game between Red Star Belgrade and young boys if they play against each other. And one of the players gets a red card, gets sent off. I will know this because I will go back and I'll check. It'll even tell me what minute that person got that particular red or yellow card. So I'm just flabbergasted. And I don't know what sport lovers across the country feel about this. I just think it's a big cop-out. I really do. And I even urge the very same SAFA who are under-resourced, can this report be put on all media to be accessible to everybody so we can all read about it and find out exactly what the problems are? Because it's all well and good now that we go into this World Cup to speak so glowingly and become so supportive. But later on, though, when we have a word here with the room dividers, we'll also touch on another issue about national teams and bonuses that they are going to be getting from the sports ministry. But what are your expectations, though, South Africa? What are your expectations when such happens? I would love to hear that. We'll play out your voice note throughout the show, 0607080484. But right now, though, as they get themselves ready to start another journey, because we got an important assignment to this coming weekend. Hence the Room Dividers right here at Marawa Sports Worldwide, proudly brought to you by F&B. From grassroots to greatness. It is live on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
Dividing public opinion.
Are they empowering?
And setting the rugby agenda.
Do not forget where your history, South Africa, is. The enemy's desire is to try and erase it.
Welcome. You're with the Room Dividers.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
What some people call mind games of Orlando Pirates. Does it put you off? What is your reaction when you see all of that happens?
Mr. Marawa, it's something that has been happening for quite some time now. And, the funny part now, the most embarrassing part is when this thing, they are caught on camera. And remember, the football is not being watched by elder people only. There's kids who are watching football, and I don't think that paints a good picture of football when kids see that, because I don't think their beliefs should be imposed on us.
And they put the Muti and they put the Muti. Why do they put the Muti? Why stop using Muti?
#MSW. #MSW.
They have completely embarrassed the All Blacks.
From match analysis and injury updates,
sometimes you've got to take one step back to take two steps forward.
To bold predictions.
Why are you asking prediction? Why don't you start with predictions?
Nothing is offside.
You like a sangoma to me, pa.
How? Tell me.
Nothing is off the table. With Robert Marawa on Room Dividers on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
All right, so let's bounce on the journey right now, and that's why tonight we return to rugby, the big battlefield. I mean, the headlines collide, though, with some of the real hard truths. So you look at where the predictions turn into prophecies. Now, last week, on the Room Dividers, they said that changes were coming at the Sharks, and guess what? The man was right. He gave us breaking news last week, and we were all over the place. He was the only one in Joburg. Manana was down in Cape Town. I was in Durban, but the breaking news was one. And Mike Greenaway delivered on that breaking news. What a twist, guys. I think when you look at John Plumtree, he was effectively sacked. Yet they still expected to coach for the rest of the season. So 8 months to go. And one question does loom large, though. I mean, how do you lead when the locker room already knows your fate? And that's not all. I mean, stirring the pot, though, the Bulls taking the Jan Hendrik Wessels suspension fight beyond SA Rugby, beyond the URC, in fact, and possibly all the way to an Irish court. Is this simply about justice, or do South Africans have a persecution complex, though, when it comes to Northern Hemisphere hearings? In the meantime, the Boks, they're facing a new front row crisis. We all unfortunately saw the big ox limping off over the weekend. Big changes have had to come in. So, he's out. French are breathing fire. They're talking revenge for that World Cup quarterfinal heartbreak in 2023. So the Stade de France will be a quadron on Saturday. But can the Boks, though, withstand that fury? I mean, how will the bomb squad be split? What does Siya Kolisi's 100th test mean? And not just for the team, but for the nation. And joining us to break down all of this is the former junior Bok and Springbok flank. He's very shy. In fact, he's so shy that he's never shy. That's Thando Manana. Alongside him, the man with the pen that burns through paper, rugby writer, author of The Fireside, Springbok Mike Greenaway. Gentlemen, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good evening, folks.
Good evening, Mike. Good evening to the listeners.
So much to talk about, Rob. Where do we start?
I know. Let's leave the other guy. I'm going to switch his mic off. I'll talk to you, Mike.
Yes.
It was correct, the news that you broke. And I think everybody has been going on social media. That's why I repeated it in that intro to say, wow, what a revelation. But is it the right thing to do? People are concerned to say, how do you lead when you know your fate?
Okay, so what really has happened here, folks, is the Sharks management, the Sharks ownership, the Shark leadership in Durban had to have a response to that bad start to the season. And they felt they needed to do something that was meaningful in the eyes of their supporters. And I'm not sure they did the right thing. So what they've done is they've told John Plumtree that he will no longer be the coach at the end of the season. The problem here is that the season's just started.
Yeah.
So they played like 4 games, and they now play until June next year. And John Plumtree now has to take the Sharks through the next 8 months. But he is now thinking, do the players believe in me? How do I motivate my assistant coaches? How do we conduct this whole thing when there is so much jeopardy over the entire season? I think what has happened here is that the ownership wanted a knee-jerk reaction to silence the critics, but they haven't thought it through, and they haven't had someone to replace John Plumtree, because that is really the crux of the matter. If you're going to sack a coach, normally they go immediately. They clear their desk out on the Monday and they're gone. This is I've never seen a precedent like this before. Never before have I seen a coach get sacked at the beginning of the season and told he's got to carry on through.
Yeah, because I mean that makes absolute no logical sense. And we sit here and we'll delve into it even after the break. But Banana, just your opening remarks regarding that. And again, you called it, Mike called it last week. It has happened. It's out there. There's been a response to it. But start of the season, you're gone, but you've got to go through. You've got to sit through the entire season now.
I think for the Sharks, one is the win they had against Scarlet was just something that maybe might have saved a little bit of everyone. You know, not to go into the international season without having won any games in the URC and having played those players. 2, it then takes me back also, Rob, to accountability. Who's really accountable? Remember, you've got a director of rugby. In essence, a director of rugby, not the coach, should be looked at that one, but he's going to be moved to the juniors. I have a question mark on that. How does he move from that position down to the juniors? So therefore, I'm happy with what Mike is saying is that if you fire a coach, you've got to fire a coach and then finish off with either the assistants to finish off the rest of the season and see what happens from there. Remember the debacle with Gareth Tachman, Nick Mallet. I mean, the late Jos van der Westen and the players told the coach that they were not happy with the decision that he's taking on Gary. So, maybe if the players were not, maybe the players could have had a better outcome if they were maybe consulted. I don't think so, just how things have panned out. Players normally have a big say in the outcome.
Do you believe they did in this one? No.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
So they got their news
I don't think they did.
Everybody else did.
Yeah. But remember, Rob, you can always move around high-performance people around. You can always send them to the juniors. You can always do whatever. I don't think that happened. I think players still want John Plumtree. That's what one can. They still want him there. But director of rugby is still the head of the head coach, whether we like it or not. And it wasn't changed in terms of the job description when Neil Powell, for example, got the job when Edward Coetzee was there. So remember, these are old appointments of everyone that's in the Sharks grouping. So it's an HR matter that's going to cost them a lot of money, perhaps.
Hold that thought, because the issue of a lame duck coach comes in.
Hashtag MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. Hashtag MSW.
Buy a new cherry, get that loot in your boot. Driving home merry, get that loot in your boot. Pull up at the school, get that loot in your boot. Chillin', feeling cool, get that loot in your boot. Yeah, we've shipped 5 million cherries, and to celebrate, we're giving you a chance to get that loot in your boot. Buy any new cherry vehicle between October and December, and you could win $1 million. Yep, 1 million rand. That's a lot of loot in your boot. T's and C's apply. Cherry, live for more.
That's Harold Net Forest Hotline, Rowan on the line.
Harold, help. Last year, I forgot my wife's birthday.
Whoops, let me guess. Things got a bit hairy, hey?
No, the exact opposite. She swapped my shampoo for hair remover. There's not a hair left on my head.
Ooh, smooth.
Please help me get it right this year.
Oh, you can get a lot more than right. Just visit Net Florist and order the biggest birthday bouquet you can, and your head will be all taken care of. Net Florist, it's easy to show you care.
Dlala Madlula, coach. The games are out. Who are you betting on?
Dlala Madlamin, top player. On Sports Stake 4, I'm going with the strongest defense.
Nice one, coach, but I'm going with the goals.
What's that, Coach Amanda? Now it's up to the fans to dala, or rather dlala what they must. Dlalu 4.
Sports Stake 4 for only R2. Pick win, lose or draw for 4 games and you could win. Play at any participating National Lottery retailer. Be enjoy a game. Panda, push up, play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Get ready for the burger that bites back. Introducing the Ham Burner. Double the beef, triple the trouble, stacked with heartburn, dripping with indigestion, and topped off with a fiery hit of excess acid. Luckily, there's once a day A Vogel Multiforce, packed with alkaline minerals and ISCH22 that balance excess stomach acid. Because your food shouldn't bite back. Multiforce, your once-a-day force against excess acidity.
It's Big Deal Wednesday at Food Lovers Market. Buy a 7 kg potato pocket and a 7 kg butternut pocket for 99 Rand. And get a 3 kg onion bag absolutely free. Get an extra large watermelon and 5 125-gram blueberry punnets for 99 Rand. And save on bulk beef mince at only 99.99 per kilo. Valid this Wednesday only at all Inland Food Lovers Market stores. It's in the experience.
At MediClinic, we believe that life happens in the little moments. Like when you laugh so hard at your own joke, you never get to the punchline. Or when just one more page turns into 3 chapters of their favorite bedtime story. Or when you remember every grandkid's name, first try. These little moments are some of life's best moments, and they are made possible by expert care. MediClinic. Expertise you can trust.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
And they put the Muti and they put the Muti. Why do they put the Muti? Why stop using Muti?
I'm not against the usage of recalls in football, but I'm a bit concerned about the way in which Orlando Pirates is currently applying its recalls in football.
They mustn't come here and then it's something that they've never seen before. We've seen it happen. Even if you go on Google right now and say Kaizer Chiefs Muti, you will see those pictures. They're there. So it's not like, Orlando Pirates is the only team that does these things.
Zamesa, thank you so much indeed. You actually made me Google Kaizer Chiefs Muti. Yeah, it's there. Next thing is going to be saying, no, Google Chippa United Muti. There's all, no. Google Devon City Muti. They're going to be Googling Muti. And then what? And then what do we gain from that?
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. It's Sulfulang here, and good evening to the MSW shoulders, and good evening to the room dividers. Firstly, kudos to the box, kudos to SFM, kudos to Zachary Porthen, kudos to everybody that absolutely destroyed Japan, kind of removing that upset on the last time that the two sides met. Now, I just want to pose this to the room dividers, since they are the be-all and end-all, and as far as rugby knowledge is concerned, where they continue to school us every single Tuesday, and we love it. Now, my question to them is, with regards to the huge game, the repeat of the quarterfinals against France, this coming weekend at exactly, I think, 10 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. What are your expectations from the lineup, from the splits? Are you expecting a 6-2 split? Are you expecting a 5-3 split? Are you expecting there to be some kind of continuity in as far as the starting lineup from the previous match is concerned? Or are you expecting a change here and there? What were you happy with regards to the results against Japan? And what do you think the box can improve out of their tough game against France? That's what I want to find out from the room dividers tonight. Great show as always. Thanks.
Frank, thank you so much indeed. We'll deal with that question in just a second, but let me remind you that as we celebrate the power of sport as well as the pride of our nation, F&B proudly backs the Springboks, driving transformation in the South African rugby from grassroots to greatness, from players to coaches and also schools and clubs. F&B is inspiring future generations in green and gold as a proud partner of the Springboks. F&B, help changes everything.
Ready, the scrums collapse. The tackles hit like thunder.
That is sensational rugby.
And the tries, they light up the scoreboard.
So impressive. It really is.
With Robert Marawa on Room Dividers.
Iconic room dividers.
On Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Very silly comment.
Well, Mike Greenaway did say as we started the show that there's so much to talk about as we unpack a very unique and interesting scenario, to put it very mildly. John Plumtree effectively sacked at the beginning of a season, but still has an entire 8 months to run. I mean, does he continue? I talked about a lame duck kind of coach. Guys, I know, Mike, you were about to respond before we hit the break.
Yeah, look, so what's really happened here is if you are going to sack a coach, then you've got to have a replacement immediately available. Otherwise, don't sack him. Because now we've got a whole year, 8 months. Now, I just want to put something out here. John Plumtree is a man of great resilience. He has got the players behind him. What if these players now respond to this situation and they play their butts off for John Plumtree? Is there going to be egg on the faces of the owners of the Sharks, the leadership at the Shark Tank, if they end up winning a trophy this year? What happens then?
That I don't know, Manana. That's a good question, though, because they can. But for me, it would also say, but they not being professional rugby players, they're being reactive. They taking sides. They are taking a situation and they turning it on. Why didn't they turn on the magic when they needed to turn the magic on, and not be in a situation now where they have to say, John, thank you very much indeed. But now all of a sudden you react, you give a different performance, you try and you test the management. I don't know.
Okay, look, before Tando gives us his comment, the thing is that the players in question haven't been there, because they are 12, 13, 14 Springboks who have been away with the Rugby Championship. So John Plumtree hasn't had them to work with, but they are going to come back. And I can tell you now, I know that the likes of Eben Etzebeth, Siya Kolisi support John Plumtree. So when the Sharks are able to put together a sequence of games with all their top players, they are probably going to be unbeatable.
But I've also seen the Sharks play with all of the players that you've named and are playing for the Boks, and they've just been underwhelming.
Look, the problem is when the Springboks are away, the guys who are next in line to replace the Springboks aren't good enough. And that is a problem with recruitment. And apparently there is issues at the Sharks where they are looking at now replacing the guys who are doing the recruitment. We've seen that Neil Powell is being demoted from Director of Rugby. There are question marks over Michael Horrock, who is in charge of recruitment, has been for some time. I'm reliably informed that there are going to be changes in that regard. Is that enough to save John Plumtree in the interim? I'm not sure. But let's see what the new recruitment guy does.
So 8 months, Manana, what then do you do as a reactor, as a response? And is there likely to be, at the start of a season, a coach capable enough, if they have to push it, to say, okay, let's change the initial tactic, we want the coach to start immediately?
Sometimes, Rob, what we forget to talk about form. Form plays a very important part of this puzzle we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be a complete and well-structured puzzle so that we can actually see the picture. The picture the Sharks they want to see is they want to come back to winning ways. They're not having that. They're also, like Mike has said, is that they've got a couple of Springboks who, some of them have not been part of the preseason because of incoming and then the rugby championship. So there's a bit of a sort of a distance from coaching and also being part of the national team. We've got to understand that. And also team selection. So that's been very much a problem. If you look at a Marvin Ori, for example, was playing for the Bulls in the Currie Cup. A week later, he's in with the Sharks. A week later, he travels with the team. So in terms of just getting, that synergy and everything all round, yes, he's playing, he's there, but I personally feel the team is not gelling well enough because they haven't been together for the longest time in terms of those players. When you get the Springboks back, you don't get them as sharp as you would want them. So you play Vincent Koch, you play Bongi, they're not performing. You've got an issue with Lucanio Am, whose form is also not where you want to be. So you get guys like Lorenzo, who now have to push the sort of the envelope, the form. And then Masuku, who do you play? Do you play a Masuku or do you play a Smith? And also you have a Hendricks coming back from injury. So they haven't really figured out who their combinations are. They've got great players, great players. But combination, they just haven't ticked. But with the first game post the 29th test versus Wales, they go immediately into an EPCR. They've got to find each other on that EPCR, both home and away. And then they've got the Bulls on the 20th of December. So they've got those 3 games to actually map out what the rest of the year looks like for them. Maybe or perhaps we chat, Rob, in Jan over the phone or over text and see how far they've come, because I feel those 3 games will determine their route or their road of the EPCR as well as the URC. That for me is important. 2, you've got to understand is that the same assistant coaches have been in the coaching setup as well. So they might be taking sides. You never know whose sides they're on and what have you, and whose side they're pulling through. So Plumtree has got to call them aside and saying, we've got one job, and the job is for us to do what we did a year ago when we won the EPCR, when people doubted we'd do that, and they did it. But now they've got an opportunity, Rob. Nothing is lost. Same for the Lions. Nothing is lost. Same for every team. So I think it's still at an embryonic stage. They can perform. They can finish in the top 8. But when they finish in the top 8, then that's when they kick in as well.
All right, so I want us to wrap this Sharks conversation because, again, I want to get into the box because that's the main bread and butter right now. We've seen over the weekend against Japan, I don't think any of us expected anything far less than that type of performance. In fact, would you describe it as what? Just on the mark, underwhelming, overwhelming, a good warm-up to the weekend?
Guys, I thought it was actually an excellent performance. I thought that Japan could have made life difficult for the Bucks. They just got shut out completely from first whistle to last. Yeah. And it just shows how much the Springboks have progressed, because this was, I wouldn't say banana skin, but it was a game where Eddie Jones, who's such an accomplished coach, could have made life difficult, but we just shut them out from the word go. The Springboks a couple of years ago might not have won by 60-odd points. I just thought that this game was a massive tick for the Springboks and how they just completely shut Japan down from the first whistle.
All right. I know both of you want to have a bit of a bite at this one here. We've got a situation where I mentioned Oxenchair limping off, gone, so he's out of the outbound tour completely now.
Yeah.
Untlabaganye comes in his place. We'll deal with him and what the so-called SAID's ruling was and whether or not he is meant to or not meant to be playing. But there's a dual problem. So there's the Oxenchair conundrum, and then on the other side there's the Vessels conundrum. Manana, you want to have a quick bite at that one?
Rob, first and foremost, we're in a bit of a trouble on the front rower. I don't want to talk about the Ox. Ox is out. Now we have an issue at loose head. Even with talks of moving Thomas back to loose head. I'm of the view the box should stick, for especially the French will bring in their heaviest pack against us. We've got to bring in people that have played in that position. So I would want to start with the Steenekamp, Marks, and also Thomas du Toit. Have Wilco come in the second half in the tight head. Now here's the issue. The issue that we have is then who will play from the bench at loose head. That's the big issue. Unfortunately, you bring Ntlabakanye. Ntlabakanye is a tight head. Uzek is a tight head. Both those players for me are ineligible to participate unless you move a Thomas du Toit to cover the loose head. Now, if you do that, then you bring one of those two. But inexperience, both of them. One just had a test match, a debut test match last week. The other one hasn't played for the Boks since the incoming tour. We know of that. So I'm of the view, you bring in a guy, Fenta, Bo Fenta, you bring him in because he's played in that second game in Wellington. He came on as a replacement, Rob. Now, the other guy you speak about would have been a great help for us, and that's Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Had he not been now gotten 8 weeks, he would have stepped in nicely in that position. Another issue we have, ladies and gents, is at hooker. That's why I'm saying I'm worried about the Boks front rower. Who then coming? Do you bring in a Grobler who was on the bench against Japan, or you bring a Marnus van der Merwe to come in as? So we have that much of an inexperience compared to what we had in 2023, where you had a Kitchoff, you had a Bongi Mbonambi, and a Frans Malherbe. Things have changed in just 2 years, Rob. That's why the French sees this game as a big revenge game, because they know we are under pressure in that positional play.
They believe that it's doable. That result is doable for them. But Mike, with all of the problems that have been outlined by Tando now, do you feel the same? And I know that you had opinions that you wanted to share, especially around Wessels and Ox, that particular conundrum as well.
Yeah, look, so just quickly, Tando, I think you answered the question there about who's going to play. Bowen Fento, I think, will come in at loose head.
Yes.
So we're okay there. Look, and Johan Grobler will cover hooker. But I just want to say the massive blow to Rassie Erasmus and the Springboks is this whole Jan-Hendrik Wessels things. Because he covers hooker, and I mean, he could be the next Malcolm Marx at hooker. He could be the next Oxenchair at loosehead. I mean, he is just a perfect hybrid player. He's a fantastic rugby player. He is not there. Why is he not there? Because of hearsay of a Connacht flanker who said that he committed a nefarious deed to the lower body. So what's happening there, guys, just to recap, is that Jan-Hendrik Wessels had a disciplinary hearing. He was given a 9-week ban. The Bulls appealed. He then had 1 game taken off. But the Bulls were unsatisfied because the hearings couldn't come up with any concrete evidence. They couldn't provide any video evidence to suggest that this actually happened. So what is happening now is the Bulls, I'm reliably informed, are taking this now outside of the United Rugby Championship Forum, taking it outside of their disciplinary ways that they deal with things, and they're taking it to an independent court. They're taking it to the Court of Arbitration in Dublin, which means they're going a legal route that's outside of the United Rugby Championship, because they completely believe that Jan-Hendrik Wessels is innocent and there is no evidence to convict him.
I mean, is this dangerous territory, guys, that we're entering right now, though? Because if you have to go to an Irish court, there's a feeling as well to feel victimized by Northern Hemisphere in terms of the judicial processes. That is my opinion. Or is this just emotional overreaction?
Look, we have this kind of persecution complex a little bit in South Africa, and with some reason, but also without some reason. I have been covering this game for 30 years, and I'm telling you now that South African players tend to get the short end of the stick when it comes to disciplinary hearings.
Most times than not.
Most times. I'm going to give you an example. I remember early days of Super Rugby. there was email correspondence leaked between Australian referees and New Zealand referees. It got leaked to the South African guys, in which it basically said, let's screw the Yarpies. That is their nickname for the South African
As blatant as that.
Because we have this kind of long-standing thing over 100 years where South African rugby players are a little bit like silly and a little bit stupid and a little bit Neanderthal and a bit prehistoric and a bit dinosaurish, and we behave badly. And I think there is that kind of hangover that still goes into disciplinary hearings. And I just want to say as well that the URC's disciplinary hearings are conducted by Northern Hemisphere folks. And I don't know, look, maybe I am being a little bit conspiracy theory, but maybe, there's a bit of jealousy over us winning 2 World Cups. Who knows?
But we can deal with all of that. We can deal with coming back after the break and taking some of your comments. It is a Room Dividers. It's a Tuesday.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time.
#MSW. Turning 18 means we've learned resilience. From the shenanigans in Saxon World to Khanza, we've been through it all. From sunny days to midnight reshuffles, we were there, giving Mzansi more assurance, performance and value. Celebrate your journey with the Haval H7 from only $6,799 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Hey, Laura. The unmistakable voice of jazz and soul returns to South Africa, Gregory Porter. Join the 2-time Grammy Award winner for 3 intimate performances now at Teatro Monte Casino on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of November. Don't miss one of the greatest voices of our time, Gregory Porter, live. Book now at showtime.co.za in association with 947.
Hello, Mzansi. I want to speak about something dear to my heart. The levels of soullessness in the world. Hey, go barehead. There are 8.2 billion people in the world, and only 63 million of these people are South African. Meaning 81,900,000,000, listen carefully, 37 million of these people are deprived of basic access to soul food because we have all the chicken lickens. Mzansi, this is truly a travesty. It's giving maths lit, but count yourself lucky because you can help the rest of the world. How? By becoming a Soulfluencer, and you'll stand a chance to win a trip to anywhere in the world. You can also win your share of up to 20 million rand in instant prizes along the way. Visit soulfoodtotheworld.com or Chicken Licken's socials to find out how you can show your support and win. T's and C's apply. Chicken Licken. Soul food.
Hear that? That's the sound of the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco 2025, and you could win double tickets to the opening match. Simply visit Total Energies, fill up with 750 Rand or more of Excellium fuel, or top up with Quartz engine oil, and you're in the game. So join us as we celebrate the spirit of football together, and let's make Africa the home of the beautiful game. Exclusive to club members, valid 30 September to 17 November. T's and C's apply.
Go bigger, be bolder with Vodacom. Get the all-new Huawei Nova 14i on a 1 gig rate core plan for $329 per month over 36 months. Plus 2 months free YouTube Premium on us. There's more. Get the deal and we'll include a Huawei Band 10 valued at 1,539 Rand for free. Redeemable via My Huawei app. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Vela Kumalo, who I know is watching another game, is all the way in Doha. He joins me live on the line as we go worldwide. It's the first time in 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, South Africa going to a World Cup at under 17 level, playing against Bolivia for the very first time and winning 3-1 despite there being a red card.
Let me take an opportunity to say thank you very much. I knew that you're going to call. You even called me when I'm at the stadium now, like you rightfully said now. You know what is my biggest worry with the results is that we played 70 minutes or so with one player less. So it took a lot of energy out of the boys. We need to win one of the games here just so that we can go to the knockout stages.
Hashtag MSW. Hashtag MSW.
Yeah, we just feel currently we have a way of doing things which is keeping the players engaged, keeping them competitive, keeping them, obviously, when there is disappointment of not being selected, but keeping them producing their own performances, producing assistance for the guys who are in the team or in the 23. You use the word drop there. We don't use that. It's not really, it genuinely isn't in our thinking. It's more of a rotation and trying to give everyone a fair crack to show what they can do for South Africa. And the byproduct of that is that obviously then we end up building a little bit of depth because we can potentially get caps into guys. The season is long for the URC, for the European Cup, for the international season. There's obviously so many games, so it's difficult for one player to play in 15, 14, 13 tests all season now, and the games are so physical that rotation is needed. So that's the thinking, really.
Sinsinli khangela la kona Sinsinli uyijongile uCheslin Colby wakhawuka uNokhetli wayikhambela uKhetli Arendse zimbini.
A taste of the weekend. What's going to be happening this coming weekend? As I said, South African assistant coach Felix Jones saying earlier on that he backed Asanati Ntlabaganye as well after the prop was called up to the squad, though, for the very, very first time since testing positive for that non-performance enhancing substance in August. So, I mean, we chatted to Ntlabaganye about, 2 weeks ago, the Lions man. He's been ruled out of the box tour of New Zealand in September after returning that adverse finding, was replaced by the injured oxen chair in the setup before the Autumn Nations Series with France in Paris. So, guys, maybe let's quickly talk about that, because a lot of people have been saying, how come if there's been this ban, is he able now to find his way?
Yeah, Rob, and I'm pleased that we're talking about this because this guy deserves to have the truth told. So what really, if I can put in a nutshell, has happened is that South African Institute of Drug-Free Sport tested the Lions. When the guys get tested, they have to fill in a form to show what medication they've been on, what they've been taking, and that's fine. Could be flu medication, could be whatever. You put whatever you've been taking. And he put down that he'd been taking a medication that had been sanctioned to him by nutritionists to help him with weight loss. And he filled it in. They tested him for this specific substance, and it wasn't even in his bloodstream. But he had put it on his form. So they said, but you have said you've taken this. And I won't go into the specifics of the exact name of the drug because I can't pronounce it. It goes on forever. But in this specific medication, there is a possibility that something anabolic can be promoted that can promote testosterone, that blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't even in his bloodstream. So SAIDs have said, look, clearly this is a gentleman that has been given bad advice. Normally, they immediately suspend a player. And they've said to him, we are sympathetic to what has happened with you, and your hearing is in January. We are permitting you to play in the meantime. And that is an admission in itself from them that this is a case where the player is innocent.
Okay. So we're clear on that. I mean, he's been given that right.
Rob, he's been playing URC.
Yeah.
He's been playing URC, and he's been selected for the box, rightfully so, and he waits for January. when he meets Sades in Cape Town or in Johannesburg or wherever. So I think there's nothing wrong towards that. And also I think, remember what Rassi said is at the time, he just felt that it would not be the right thing to have him in the box set up when it was just news coming out and everyone was talking about it. It would have been just not right for the player. So a little bit of humane thinking from the coach himself.
So, I mean, there's going to be no other further, sanction, because people are very quick to say, but just a couple of weeks ago, this and this happened, which is fine. So we search forward, guys. I played a clip earlier on with Felix Jones talking about the rotation process. That's what's going to be important for the Boks, as you say, in a critical number of positions. They seem to be problem areas. Mike, let's be straight and direct here. Here we are. On the brink of facing, probably a team that's going to give us our biggest game of the year as we wrap the year. As you know, and everybody else knows, that it's the first time that these two teams are going to be meeting since that World Cup quarterfinal in Paris in 2023. Your expectation, and how are the Boks going about it? When you're expecting the coach to announce the final squad?
Okay, so first of all, this is a game of emotion. This is a game of emotion on the French side, where and their players and assistant coaches have been interviewed this week, and they're talking about retribution. They're talking about revenge. They're talking about an injustice that was done to them 2 years ago in that quarterfinal. I mean, we can debate that long into the night, but that is how the French see it. So they are coming into this game, and remember, these teams haven't met since that quarterfinal. That it was 29-28. So the French are coming out stoked with the fires of revenge. The Springboks have got a little bit of emotion too. Sia Kolisi is playing his 100th game. I mean, this guy is an absolute icon of South African sport, one of our greatest sportsmen ever. So the Springboks want to give him justice. I mean, he's Sia Kolisi, man. This is our Springbok captain. He's won 2 World Cups. He's led the Boks with glory. So how do the Springboks handle the emotion of paying tribute to their captain? How do the French handle this whole revenge thing? Look, Thanda, you've played rugby at the highest level. Emotion gets you so far in a game. I'm talking 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, you can bang heads in the change room, you can do all that stuff, but the game settles down, and then it's who's best prepared, who has got form, who has got the best game plan, who has got their ducks in a row, because the emotion wears off. And I think, in my opinion, the Springboks are better kind of aligned in terms of their form and how they want to play this game than the French.
All right, sounds like there is a clear directive here, but Manana, as you have said a little bit last week about the 100th cap, that it's a big occasion. We shouldn't look past it. Yeah. You're a former player. Mike just said it, at the highest level within the Springboks.
Yes, Rob.
You get to 100 caps. It's an occasion. There's revenge. Mike alludes to it. Yes, of course. There's retribution. There's all sorts of words that come in. But let's focus quickly here on the 100th cap. The danger of the occasion overshadowing the focus on the game itself.
Rob, first and foremost, it's been a long journey for Sia as a player, and it's a big milestone for any player. The most unfortunate thing for Sia, he's playing it in France. The likes of all the other players have played their 100th test. Eben Etzebeth in South Africa, Victor Medfield in South Africa. The list goes on and on. You go to New Zealand, Dan Carter in New Zealand, Richie McCaw in New Zealand. So first and foremost, he's going to step out there to a hostile environment. In his 100th test, he's going to walk out alone and is going to be welcomed by that hostile environment. 2, memory and history has no blank pages, Rob.
Yeah.
The last time he played in Paris, he lifted the Webb Ellis Trophy. So that's a good plus for him. 2, 3, I've even seen in the last game, he's singing Igwijolake on his own. So he's a man who can motivate his own self. He doesn't need anyone for that.
There's 2 players singing that song.
Yeah. Yeah, so that for me is important. So he'll have to play that song. Oxy was always behind him, but is no longer there. So that's another issue. So for me, Rob, he's going to have to carry this team through. And the way I see selection is Russell will go with a 6-2 split for this game. He has no choice. It can't be a 5-3. He can even go 7-1. It's fire with fire. And for me, that's important. So therefore, if one looks at how the team is going to be, it's going to be South Africa's best team that they think that will take on the French. He will lead that team for 100 test, and the team has got to do it for Sia. All those players have got to do it for Sia.
Somebody's got a concern here. Let's quickly listen.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa, to the Marawa faithful and our main dividers of the rooms, the room dividers. Robert, I have just a question in terms of local URC competition. We see this year on year, or personally for me, we have one South African team doing very good and the others hovering, doing semi-good. And then the next season, the good team becomes the following season's bad team. It's been a trend. It's been the Sharks, it's been the Bulls, it's been the Stormers, it's been the Lions for a while. Is that up to coaching? Is that up to players? What is the drastic change? Because if you look at some of the European teams, they're consistently good. They're in amongst the top 10. They play into the latter stages of the league in terms of the European overseas teams. But what our teams is, 1 year we have one good team, and then the following season that team doesn't back it up. They become the bad team and another team show up. Is it just inconsistency in terms of our rugby, or what can we put it down to? And then on the Springboks, we've had a lot of slow starts in our last few games. Even against Japan, we didn't start off very, very convincing or bright. Do you see that as a concern, especially when we play France, who can match us, who can be physical, who can play at the back? If we have a sluggish or slow start, we could start the game at the back. Are we always gonna play from the back, go a few points down and then kick into gear? Or when is it going to backfire? What is this? How can I put it? What do the room dividers say about that? Thank you, Cheslin. Yeah.
Cheslin, thank you so much indeed. Mike, a quick one, including your prediction for Saturday, because time is out.
Yeah, okay. A quick one. The big difference between South Africa on Saturday and South Africa 2 years ago, Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu at 10. Taking nothing away from Andre Pollard and what he did and and the clutch kick that won us that game. Sasha has given us a completely new way of attacking and playing. Kobus Reinach has come to the fore, so we have a new 9 and 10. It was Faf and Andre. It's now Kobus and Sasha. That is the difference. The Boks are going to attack to win.
Attack to win? Are you going to teeter on the score?
No, I think the Boks will get over the line. I'm absolutely convinced of that. To predict a score, I don't know, but
it's going to be tight, though, whatever it is.
I've got
it's going to be okay.
Tight game, Boks to win.
All right, Manana, you've given us the 6-2 split. You've given us even going as far as the 7-1 split. You're saying that it's got to be fire with fire. Those are your words. Take us over the line.
I'm happy with the supposed to be selected back line. Willemse will come back at fullback. Kirtley, Cheslin on the wings. Dialinde and Kriel. Sasha, Kobus. That's our best back line so far. We're going with that back line. Up front, it's fire with fire. And these men that will be starting as a starting 8 of the Springboks can match and wants to play against a French team to prove that it was no fluke. Remember, the caller said we normally start slower. In the quarterfinal, we didn't start off well. They were the fire. And we had to use extinguishers in that quarterfinal.
Australia, we were playing with fire and we weren't fire. That first half, we were fire. And then second half, something different happened. Mike's gone for the bite. He's just saying, we'll get over the line, whatever. It's going to be tight.
I don't believe in this thing of you always asking in the last second what's the score. I don't believe in that.
Okay, what do you believe in?
I believe in Springboks will win by 22-19.
22-19. So you believe in proper predictions?
No, at my say.
Who else represents you, sir?
In terms of?
If it's not your say, whose say will it be?
No, but allow me to be me.
Who's not allowing you
Not
to be
you pushing me to be you.
Imagine me pushing a big man like you.
But you've done that before.
Impossible.
You've tried to do
I
that.
would need to eat 2 cows to get there.
I've given you the scoreline. You're still not happy with my
Do you
scoreline.
remember your scoreline?
It's 22-19.
Are you
It's
sure?
mine. I own it.
Are you sure?
I own it.
Are you going to be back next week?
Well, a possibility of me to go to Mauritius, but I don't know.
All right, enjoy Mauritius. It has been Marawa Sports Worldwide. Proudly brought
Have you been
to
there?
you
Have
by-
you been there?
Hey,
I'm asking, have you been
the
there?
show's done, boss. You'll ask me off air. This guy likes to talk after the show. You can tune in again next week, Tuesday, for Room Dividers on Marawa Sports Worldwide. Probably brought to you by F&B, from grassroots to greatness. 947, Rise FM, Vuma FM, and Sowetan Live. Right now, though, let's trek out of here. Tune in again tomorrow for Marawa Sports Worldwide. Probably brought to you by Hollywood Bets.
The thrill, the drama, the action. Let the game begin. Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM, and Rise FM. Powered by Hollywood.